Hello, good people. Hello. Welcome back to another car conversation or Make America Think Again with Shanavonn, depending upon where you can hear my voice or whether or not you can see my face. Hello, and welcome back to all my subscribers. I hope everyone is doing well. I am here to bring you some information today on another project. We are in the midst of Project 2025. It has been rolling out strong for the past 6 months. All the shit that I was telling y'all for the past year, you're seeing it now in real time. It is coming into fruition. And now today, I am here to talk to you about yet another project, courtesy of the Heritage Foundation, and it is called Project Esther. And here's what I know so far. Under Project Esther, they propose to change the education system, which they just got rid of the Department of Education. They want to change the entire education system in America to homeschooled education based on religion. And that's one religion, their religion, one Bible, their Bible. Whatever they determine to be their Bible, which I don't know if it's going to be Felon 47's Bible or the Bible we've all been using or something new will pop up. But number one, they are going to, which they're in the process of doing right now, gutting the education system. That is their goal. That is their goal. They can't be stopped, but that is their goal. To a homeschool situation for K through 12, and it based on religion. Now, you have to think, what is the purpose behind this? The first two things that come to mind for me are indoctrination and labor. We've already seen states roll back their labor laws, their child labor laws, so they want children to work. We've already seen that happening. Number two, we've already seen all the complaints, all the pulling of books and material and conversations that can be had in classrooms. They've attacked colleges and universities. They've attacked K through 12. All of that is tied to the indoctrination. They only want children learning what they deem is appropriate and necessary for children to know, which will be very little because they want to whitewash America. So no other history other than what they want children to be taught. No other social studies or social interests other than what they want children to be taught. That's number one. Number two, if anyone is to resist, they want to implement re-education camps. Yes, you heard me right. Re-education camps to repurpose your brain or reprogram your brain to make people comply. I want you to think Scientology right now. If you know anything about Scientology and their process in regards to auditing, I suppose that it's going to be something similar to what Scientology is already doing to their members to keep their members in line, which Scientology is a cult, MAGA is a cult, and apparently they want to make America one big ass cult. So re-education camps, if you do not buy into the homeschool, religious homeschool. Number three, making abortions completely criminal across the nation and making everyone connected to or who has an abortion subject to death. Death. Not a fine, not jail time, death. The next one, biblical law. So all the laws that they are ignoring right now, this administration is ignoring right now, now it makes absolute sense why they are doing so, because they want to implement biblical law. And again, only one religion, the one religion that they approve of, the Bible that they are using, and yeah, that's it. Nothing else will be acceptable. And everyone would be under this biblical law. Surveillance, not the surveillance of cameras that is already happening, not the surveillance, street corners, airports, grocery stores, not that surveillance. They want to go even further. They want to implement something, or not implement, well, just basically put something into your body where they can monitor heart rate, blood pressure, quite sure women's cycles, everything, so they can monitor basically the health of your body, the well-being of your body. And I'm going to get to why in just a second, why they would want to go that far. But that is the level of surveillance that they are proposing. I know that we have heard the Secretary of Health, Kennedy. You've heard him talk about, people having wearables. Well, this Project Esther goes further than that. They actually want to put something into your body. Let me tell you a quick story too. I don't know how long they've been trying this either. So this is a personal story of mine. So I know this to be true. This happened to me, or they tried it. So I had a procedure, had a biopsy, had tissue removed. And when I agreed to it, it was just one doctor. We had a conversation, walked me through the process, what's going to happen. I left. I came back maybe a week later. I'm sorry, I came back 30 days later. I came back 30 days later, had this procedure done. And then when I was having the procedure, there were two doctors in the room, okay? And I just thought, it's a safety thing. This doctor's watching what this doctor's doing, so they're covered, so can't be any lawsuits, me alleging anything happened that didn't happen, right? No. The second doctor asked me, she said, well, when we finish this procedure, we want to put this chip inside so we can remember where we went into the first time. So we can just go back to that same spot and see if there's any changes, any growth, etc. Right? And I said, wait a minute. So you're telling me I went through all these x-rays, the mammograms, the ultrasounds, I went through all that, and you wouldn't be able to go back in and look at that same information, those same x-rays, you wouldn't be able to look at all that and tell where you went into my body the first time? How is that? And I don't think that she expected me to question that. So she was kind of caught off guard. And she said, well, it's just easier for, if you go to another doctor, they can indicate. I said, ma'am, you're making an incision into my body. There are several medical records, and I will remember exactly where you went into my body. So no, there's no need for any chipping. What are you talking about here? So you have to be very mindful, and you have to educate yourself when you go to put yourself in certain situations, especially in situations where it is in regards to your health. But I'm saying all this to say, because this sounds a lot like that situation that was very weird to me at that time. And that's why I've never forgotten it, because I was like, putting a chip in my body so you can remember. When you have all this data, you had all this testing before I came in for this procedure, but you won't remember where you made an incision into my body. And I won't remember that either. Like, it made no sense to me. So that's the next thing that they want to do in regards to surveillance. And don't forget what Peter Thiel's plans are with his Planeteer or Palantir company. Don't forget that. Don't forget that, because that's still there. That's Project 2025. Women, ladies, listen up. They want to make us literally the property of our husbands. Meaning, You cannot drive without your husband. You cannot be without your husband. Your husband tells you how to dress, how to wear your hair, where you can go, where you cannot go, what you can do, who you can see, who you can talk to, all across the board. They want women to become the property of their husbands. They want to go back as far as those times. Okay. Listen to this one. Sterilization. Sterilization. What they want to do under Project Esther is with young girls, they want to sterilize young girls until they become of age. And this is not new in the world. There are other countries, there are other places where this is done. They want to sterilize the young girls until they become of age to where they could get pregnant, then reverse the sterilization so that they can marry them off. They can get married and they can become pregnant. And there's another step to this. The young girls are to be impregnated via in vitro, so they can have population control. So only white babies are produced. So perhaps if you have young girls or young women who are married off to white men, they won't be worried or concerned. But for the rest of the women out here with working wombs, they want to make sure that they have population control, no matter what shade or hue your skin is. They want white babies. So they are going to implement in vitro for those women so that only white babies help to repopulate this nation. I hope y'all listening to me. I really hope y'all are listening this time, because you didn't listen with Project 2025. I really hope you're listening this time. All right, so there will be more alligator Alcatrazes, and that's actually something that's going to happen immediate as soon as this big bullshit bill money kicks in. In Los Angeles, just this week, the icy folks started targeting homeless shelters. So there was an executive order that was passed this past week. There were two executive orders that you might have missed. The number one is institutionalization. So the ability to institutionalize, i.e. detention centers, people who are either homeless or they're living with some sort of mental health issue and cannot care for themselves. Now, if you're asking yourself, how would they gather all this information? I know you have heard in the news where first Doge and now Peter Thiel are gathering all this information on everybody. Medical records, tax records, all of this information on every citizen in America, not just immigrants, every citizen in America. So that's how they will know. That's how they will know if you are living with or suffer from any type of mental health issue. So that executive order was passed here recently, that this institutionalization, that homeless people and people who suffer from mental health issues, if they are deemed, or if it is deemed by whomever, we don't know, if it is deemed that they cannot care for themselves, they can be institutionalized. And guess where they're going to go? Absolutely right. They're going to go to a detention center. They're not going to go somewhere where they can receive help. Trust me, they're going to go to these detention centers so they can be used as labor or sold to another country. Because this is all a money-making racket. That's what this is. What's the next one? Oh, the second EO, I want to say this. The second EO, they have reversed the inability to use corporal punishment in K through 12. That was reversed just this past week. just in case you missed that one as well. So if you have a student, a young person, a child going into K through 12, they're about to start school, listen up. The federal government has reversed the inability for schools to implement corporal punishment on your child, on your child. What else is this? Oh, men. Here's a fun one for you, men. So you're either straight, you're either heterosexual, or you're dead. And I mean that literally. So with women, no matter what their sexuality, sexual preference is, if they've got a working womb, you're good, because they're going to use you. They need to use you to repopulate white babies. But for men, there will be no LGBTQI, A, nothing, period. They will pretend that you do not exist. And if they find out that you exist, you will be dead. So there's only room for heterosexual men under this Project Esther, and they need you out here producing babies. And anyone else, and I'm not making a joke. This is nothing is funny about this. This is, you remember how I kept telling y'all, watch The Handmaid's Tale, watch The Handmaid's Tale. This is the making of Gilead. I still want you to watch it, but this goes beyond what was on The Handmaid's Tale. This goes beyond a show that was literally predicting everything thus far. Project Esther goes beyond that. So here's what I want to say to everyone. What we need to do is start with the root. We need to start pulling up. You know how when you pick weeds from a garden, you need to make sure you get them from the root so they cannot regrow again. We've got to start pulling this shit up, removing this shit up by the root. And Felon 47 is not the root. He's not. Kevin Roberts, the CEO of the Heritage Foundation, is the root. Leonard Leo, the root. Russell Boyd, the root. Russell Boyd is also, not only is he one of the authors of Project 2025, he's also currently serving in this current administration. Peter Thiel, the root. We really need to focus on dismantling the foundation of all this bullshit, all this Project Esther, Project 2025, Project whatever. We have to start pulling this shit out by the root. Felon 47 is up here. He's just the face. He's just the blubbering idiot, the useful idiot that they've been using. He is the person that got them in because he used his MAGA base. They used his MAGA base. They used his following, and they used him to get them in. He's not the root. The root is the Heritage Foundation. The root is the Federalist Society. The root is all of these people, all these millionaires and billionaires that are funding this bullshit. That's what we need to start focusing on. We need to start focusing on dismantling the foundation. And the foundation is in Heritage, the Heritage Foundation. That's the foundation. That's where we need to start, because I'm sorry, hate to be the deliverer of bad news, but shit's gonna get worse, y'all, if we don't do anything. And I've been saying this for months, and you keep seeing it's getting worse. Each and every time it's getting worse. It's getting worse every week, every week. Everything we predicted. I hate to keep saying we told you so, but we did tell you so. And I'm telling you again, it can get worse. They plan for it to get worse. It will get worse if we, all of us, don't stop them. And we have to start with pulling up the root. not the surface guy, not the clown they parade around. Start pulling up, grasping, and pulling them up by the root. And the root is the heritage foundation.